Hey party people, this is Candy and Doug. I asked Doug if he was willing to share his experience with celibacy, and he was open to it. So in this video we're going to be talking about celibacy. So let's just first start out, and Doug, what is celibacy?
Um, the form of celibacy that I am practicing is A, to not masturbate, and B, no intercourse or sexual interactions with another individual. So just, I guess you could think of it as abstinence.
Okay. What led you to the practice?
I would say the number one catalyst was becoming self-realized, realizing that I'm not the flesh of the body, but something far greater than that, and reflecting on past relationships and how toxic they were, and how I was following the beastly desires of just using another individual for pleasure and whatever else came with it as well.
How old are you?
26.
Um, so how long ago did you start this?
About 5 years ago.
Cool. So, I know that a lot of you might be kind of surprised or, shocked. Or, you might think, ooh, that's weird. And you know what I would say to you is, I thought of, when I first met a raw foodist, I thought, oh, that's weird. You don't eat anything cooked all day. But maybe that was not the best choice of words for me to be using. I think a better word would be maybe it's unusual for you. And so anyway, I just would invite everyone to listen to this video with an open mind and a loving heart, and just, maybe take something away from it. Take the jewels and leave the rest, right? So do you think you transitioning your diet had any influence on this?
Yeah, totally. The diet was definitely a catalyst for being able to see the level of toxicity within the relationships that I had previously been on, and it had really helped clean my system out to where I could definitely see different levels of false belief systems or karma that I was taking on. Yeah, the diet was just a huge catalyst for basically becoming more awakened and more conscious just all around.
Mm-hmm.
And just getting to see deeper into every facet of my existence.
And I know you've done 2 10-day silent meditations. Was this before or after the first one of those?
I guess it would probably be briefly after the second one was when I started, which was roughly 6 or 7 months after the first one. I did the first 10-day one, and then roughly half a year later I did another 10-day one, and then I think it was later that winter is when it started.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe in January, just sometime around there.
So would you say it kind of happened organically for you, just because of all these other things that were falling into place, or did you really, there was a lot of mind and thought into it that you were setting this goal and intention?
No, I definitely say it happened organically for the most part. As I started to work on myself and clean myself up, I just wanted to continue working on myself and continue cleaning myself up because of just how freeing and how great it felt for me, and how much fulfillment it brought for me. And so it was all a part of that process, and just really not being comfortable with intimacy and just all these different levels that just didn't feel or resonate when I was in certain relationships, when I was dating. And so I just wanted to take time to work on myself, so I didn't come into another relationship toxic on my own behalf.
What are some of the benefits that you've seen from this exercise?
Okay. I would definitely say less stress in social situations. I feel like in society, the male, or the female, either one, are definitely pressured with like dating and hooking up and intimacy, especially like late teens, early 20s, going to bars and that whole dynamic. And so it really helped alleviate a lot of stress and pressure that I was only putting on myself. So I guess with that, it would be, I guess I could say it was much easier to be authentic, or to kind of come into my own, with becoming more of my own individual, rather than just kind of parroting off what I thought I was supposed to be doing and how I thought I was supposed to be acting. So that was cool. That was really awesome to just kind of come into myself. And then that also allowed for more spare time to work on myself in, all the different other facets of life. And really helping to let go of addictions, such as addictions with pornography, addictions with masturbation, basically just false belief systems of looking at a female in certain situations and just looking at her like a piece of meat, or just like this physical being, when she's definitely not. She's not a physical being, she's just a reflection of myself. And so I definitely realized that I was basically just parasitically eating myself in a way, and just using myself. So just getting to see all these different levels was, some of the benefits. A huge part of it was me feeling like I was a sex object as well. That's kind of what I'd always felt when I was in relationships. I always felt like during intimacy, like I was being used like every time. And I was like, well, I guess this is normal. I guess this is how it's supposed to be. But I totally realized that we were just like masturbation partners. It's the same thing as like doing it myself, but just having somebody else do it for me. And that is once again what I call parasitic energy, and just basically living through the beastly or bodily desires.
Are there any foods that may arouse you? Not arouse you, but are there any foods that bring about sensations or feelings that would want to cause you to masturbate?
Yeah, absolutely. This is probably the funniest part of this video. So I not only had this experience, but I reached out to other people, both male and female, who also had this experience of people on a raw plant-based diet who would basically eat some cooked food. So for example, like we'll use a cooked vegan pizza, and instantly they just want to beat off and go to sleep. And I don't know what it is, but when I put something in my body that's not just like maybe, even like just steamed vegetables, but it's really like the more mucus forming, acid forming foods that really just trigger wanting to just, I guess, it's a level of just wanting to numb out, comfort myself, and escape from what I just did to myself. Because, on some subconscious level, I totally know what I just did to myself was not complimentary. And so I think for me, that desire to masturbate is just a way to escape and pass out. And I had personally talked to multiple individuals who had the exact same experience with like the exact same food. So I find that really interesting. If you guys have anything to say about that, please comment below, because I would love to hear more about why cooked vegan pizza would basically be a catalyst for somebody wanting to beat off and pass out, or vice versa for the female.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to wonder if it has anything to do with the refined oils, just with my own experience. So,
Totally.
yeah.
I've heard people say like it creates a lot of pressure on the prostate, and so the body naturally just wants to release from that area, but I haven't really looked it up or checked it out too much.
Do you have a length of time in mind?
No, I don't. I'm just, I came into it organically. There's not much thought into it. I'm going to, transition out of it organically as well. I'm just really waiting for when my intuition tells me it's the appropriate time. I want to work on myself to where I feel like I'm complete and whole, and find another individual who is equally complete and whole. And what we do is come together and grow and build and support each other, and not just use each other as like a crutch or a comfort or a way to numb and just basically fill a void that we're not willing to look at or work on within our own being.
Doug is 6'5". He's good looking on the outside, you can see, but very much so on the inside. Very kind, has the most smooth delivery with words, has taught me so much, nonviolent communication is huge with him. It would remind me of Jesus, being around Jesus, is, I've said that before. So would you say that your looks have, when you're out in when you were in Costa Rica, for example, do you see that women are attracted to you? And
You know what I think it is? I think women are just attracted to people who are confident and authentic within their own self. I know that I have seen some women that are equally as parasitic as the male that's coming after them, so they basically feed off each other like a succubus and an incubus, and so that's like a whole different thing. But I would definitely say it's just, there's a level of attraction with confidence and just being authentic. And so I've definitely experienced that since I've been celibate. I feel like I definitely attract a lot more attention with females, but just people in general, honestly. I mean, I think when anybody's authentic and confident, it just attracts both males and females. People just resonate with that. Or, they don't, and it's very easy to determine whether they want to be in that relationship. I consider a relationship with a male just as important as I do with a female. Like, I consider a relationship with, a quote-unquote friend just as important as my relationship with my mother, as I do with, a girlfriend, as I do with a wife, or whatever label you put on it. A relationship is a relationship to me, and I know for me, I'm very particular about who I choose to be around.
Well said. Because I would probably describe my relationship with Doug as like a really close cousin. Maybe like a brother, but maybe even better than that. Because, like some mornings, when he gets up and he comes upstairs, there'll just be this thing, and like we'll just hug, just a good morning hug. Not every morning, but it's just something there. It's almost like, a cousin that you haven't seen in a while. I don't know. Anyway, that was just kind of rambling, but
no, I mean, it's totally like organic and authentic.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, we're supposed to hug every morning, or this is supposed to be the dialogue when we wake up. It's just an authentic expression of self.
Yeah. Okay, so briefly share your thoughts on people with promiscuous behavior, and what I mean by that is, maybe the gigolo, that people have this reputation, or a guy has a reputation of seeing how many girls he can get, and they even sometimes write down the names and keep a tally. And I thought about this, about rape, because I have some thoughts on that, but
Okay. So to start, check out the Vampire Codex. That's a great read on what a succubus and what an incubus is, and the different levels of energetic vampire. It might cue you into kind of the dynamic when a male or a female is always seeking to receive energy from different individuals, sort of parasitically feeding. That might be the dude who's out trying to hook up with every girl every night. And so that's like a whole nother level of toxic promiscuity. I can't even pronounce that correctly, but it's all good. They're just words. So yeah, but I would say that most people are probably in the same position that I was. I can only speak from experience. So I would say probably or at least for myself, it was trying to fill a void. So say I didn't feel loved, I didn't have enough self-love for myself, so I tried to find that self-love in a different individual, which is impossible. And so I once again was just searching for love in all the wrong places, as they say. And I think that has a lot to do, with the way we're raised, maybe the dynamic in the family. I'm sure there can be a lot of different reasons, but I definitely feel the promiscuity, I probably still didn't even pronounce that right, is, just searching for a way to comfort or numb ourselves or feel good about ourselves. Maybe some level of acceptance, or it might be like a confidence booster, so to speak. They can go brag to the dudes, but then it's interesting because the majority of the time the female gets called this and gets put down and the dude gets built up for it. So that's a whole different topic. That's like the European Caucasian influence within society. That's for another time. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on
Cool.
promiscuity.
I can say with my experience, transitioning my diet to a primarily raw plant-based diet has brought about more balance and stability, and definitely more self-love. Anyway, so like I said, maybe be careful with your choice of words about calling something weird when that's just your perception on it. Like I said, maybe it's unusual for you, but anyway, that's all I've got to say
Cool.
on that, and we'll just kind of wrap it up here. Thanks for watching. Give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Down below you can find a link to my first book. It's a beginning guide to regenerative detoxification, and that's all we have. So thanks for watching again, and see you next time.
Cool. Thanks, guys. It all starts with acceptance and self-love. Peace.